Okay, so this is another mini case that we're working on. It's going to be used for questions 6 to 19 in this exam. And what we'll do is we're going to go through, read the case. I've got the journal entries here on the right-hand side. I'll show you as we read the case how I've come up with the journal entries, and then we'll go ahead and start answering the questions as required in the multiple choice. So it says, Windjammer Inc. was incorporated in 2013 by its sole shareholder, James Bond. So there's only one investor, one owner in this company, and he owns all the shares. Windjammer operates a yacht that provides tours of Toronto Harbor. The yacht can also be rented by private groups on a per-hour basis. During September 2013, its first month of operation, the following transaction and events occurred. So they've given us all this information for what happened in the month of September, and it happens to be the first month of operation for this company. September 1st, Windjammer was incorporated and James Bond contributed $275,000 in cash in exchange for 100 common shares of the company. And that's my first journal entry here. It tells us that the company's cash is going up, so that's a debit of $275,000. And share capital, equity in the company, is also increasing by $275,000. September 2nd reads, purchased a yacht, the Windjammer XL, for $300,000, paying $200,000 in cash, and the remainder as a loan to the seller of the boat. Interest on the loan is 12% due monthly starting September 30th. The loan must be repaid in full on August 31st, 2016. So they bought a yacht on September 2nd, so our yacht asset is going up by the value of the yacht, which is $300,000. Our cash is decreasing. Cash is an asset. It decreases with a credit by the amount that we paid in cash, which is $200. And we now owe a loan for the remainder, a loan payable in the amount of $100,000. I also wrote a little note for myself telling me that it's 12% interest and we have to pay the interest monthly. September 2nd again, the seller has agreed to rent a docking space to Windjammer for $300 per month. Windjammer paid $1,500 for docking rates up to the end of January. So you'll see here I recorded prepaid rent because we were renting a dock for $1,500 and we gave cash in advance for $1,500. So it's important to realize when you pay for something in advance before you're going to use it, it's called a prepaid item. And I wrote a little bit of a note there for me to know that it's really $300 a month, the docking fee. So as each month goes by, at the end of the month, we're going to adjust prepaid rent as we use up the amount of the dock. So every month, $300 will be reduced. September 3rd, insurance is arranged. The monthly premium is $370, payable on the 15th of September, 15th of each month, and the first payment is made on September 15th, covering the whole month of September. So they just went out there, arranged an insurance policy with an insurance company. They haven't actually paid it yet, but they know the amount that they have to pay. So insurance expense for the first month is going to be $370. And accounts payable, we owe this $370, is also getting credited by that amount because on a liability, which is accounts payable, increases with a credit. September 4th says Windjammer paid $4,500 for lumber and supplies to construct a booth for selling tickets at the dock. Leftover lumber worth about $2,000 was taken to James Bond's home in Oakville to be used as a deck. So I did this as 2 journal entries. So these guys here, take it one part at a time. Well, you bought lumber in the amount of $4,500 and you paid they don't tell us if it's cash, but from what I can tell, if they're saying the word paid, it looks like we've paid for it. So it's cash of $4,500 and $4,500, yes. And then what ended up happening is the owner took home whatever was left over, and turns out that there was a good chunk left over. There was $2,000 worth of lumber left over. So when an owner takes assets out of the company, their equity goes down in the company. So share capital gets reduced by $2,000, and lumber gets reduced by $2,000 because the company no longer has the lumber. September 4th says Windjammer purchased $1,650 worth of fuel, and you'll see I increased fuel by $1,650, and life jackets and other safety supplies worth $1,900 all on credit. So we also purchased safety supplies for $1,900, and the total of both of them we have yet to pay, so it goes to accounts payable of $3,550. That's just the sum of both the fuel and the safety supplies. We're almost at the end of this case, journalizing it here. It says, on September 15th, Windjammer received a deposit of $3,000 from a customer who wants to rent the boat for a company party on October 2nd. The full price of the rental will be $6,000. Now, whenever you receive cash before you've performed any service, that's known as unearned revenue. So the cash in our company is increasing by $3,000. We can't change that. The customer's given us the cash. But the credit goes to unearned revenue. We're not allowed to call that a sale as yet because we haven't actually earned it yet. We haven't done our job, which is providing the boat for the party. And so that'll happen in October at some point, and we're working on September. On September 15th here again, it says we paid the $370 in insurance, so we owed $370, so our accounts payable is going down because we've paid it back now, and our cash is going down by $370. And this last little point here says, for the whole month of September, rentals that were paid in cash were $5,600. So you'll notice that I said cash is going up by $5,600. They told us rentals on credit, still outstanding at September 30th, is $970. When people owe us money, that's known as accounts receivables. So accounts receivables is increasing by $970. And then in total, that means we made rental revenue in the amount of $65.70. Then it tells us in part C here, tour tickets paid for in cash were $8,800. So you'll notice here right away I did cash is increasing by $8,800. That's how much we got in cash for these tour tickets. And then I noticed that of those tickets, $550 have not been redeemed yet. So there's still tickets that are out there that we still need to collect from customers and provide them a service. So that means we got their money before we've even provided a service for them. That's known as unearned revenue. So 550 of it is unearned, and automatically the remaining relates to services that we've already provided, and we can call that revenue. So that's 8250. And that brings us to the end of the actual core of the case. They gave us some additional information here, which is going to help us do adjusting entries that are required at the end of every month. And before I even read these two, I know a few that we have to do all on our own. I know that there's interest that we need to pay at the end of every month. And then I also know that the prepaid rent, a month has gone by and we don't need to record. We need to record the fact that we've used up a month's worth of prepaid rent. So let's take care of the loan payable first. If you owe 12% on a $100,000 loan, well, that means every year you need to pay $12,000. And if this is only 1 month out of the year, which is the month of September, well, if it's $12,000 for the year, it's only $1,000 for the month. So you'll notice that the amount of interest expense recorded for September is $1,000, and we owe $1,000 in interest payable. Moving on to the dock now, we know that we used up 1 month's worth of prepaid rent for the dock. So we can reduce our prepaid rent by $300. It's a credit to reduce an asset, and the debit would go to dock expense or rent expense, whatever you'd like to use, would be $300 as well. And those are the two adjusting entries that come to my mind right away. And the rest, we need to read the additional information. It tells us that about half of the fuel is remaining. So if we think back, we bought $1,650 worth of fuel, and half of that was used up, they're trying to tell us. So the fuel asset needs to be reduced by half of $1,650, which is $825, and we can move the amount that we used to fuel expense. So fuel expense gets increased by $825. It's a debit. And then it also tells us that a lawyer's bill for $1,100 for incorporating the company is received on October 2nd. Hint, to be expensed. So they're just telling us we need to record the fact that we owe this bill at the end of September. So what we would do is we record legal expense, $1,100, and accounts payable, because we haven't paid it yet, for $1,100 as well. And then lastly, it says assume that Windjammer is exempted from taxes, and that's just a good to know scenario. Now that we've journalized all the transactions in this company, we can begin answering the multiple choice questions.